Hi everyone, I'm Stefano, the Administrative Coordinator at DA, and today in this video I would like to tell you a little bit about how our needs assessment project works. So, the central thing you need to understand about needs assessment is that is the way DA gets its information from the organizations on the ground. So the key word here is information. The needs assessment itself is a form that contains multiple questions. The questions are addressed at the groups we work with, the receiving groups that we try and often succeed sending aid to, and this question regard various aspects of their work. In particular, they regard the operations, so which services they provide, basically. Some organizations provide free shops, some organizations do food distribution, clothes distribution, some organizations provide hygiene products, and so on. So it's really important to us to know what each organization is doing so that we can direct the aid they need to them. Another important aspect for us to know is the facilities these organizations have. For example, if they have a warehouse where they can store the aid we send, how big this warehouse is, if they collaborate with other organizations to store the aid, and so on. Because that way we can know where, when to ship, how much we can ship at a time, or if we need to divide the shipment in multiple organizations because there is not the infrastructure to store it. Another important aspect we ask for in the form is the people served, especially the numbers, the demographics that came out of question about how many babies you serve, how many women, and so on, so we can also sort what is needed there. Another important question is the location. This is just more of a technical aspect for us to know where the organization are located in specific sub-regions. So if we need to send for example, a donor contacts us with a big shipment they want to send to, let's say, Greece, and they want to send it in Athens, we know all the organization that replied to our form that work in Athens, and we know they're still active there. Or sometimes what happens is that an organization will be located in an area, but they also have operation in another area that we don't know about. So it's really important to know where they operate as well. And then the core questions that we ask in the form are, of course, the items needed. So we have a list of items that we ask for to indicate what is the necessity for the next 3 months. These are mostly clothes, some food products, some hygiene products, but of course we let it open in the end to indicate any other item that the organization might need. We understand that different contexts bring different necessities, so maybe there is something we are not aware of that you can indicate us in the form, and we will try to find a donor that can fulfill that need. Another important aspect regarding the items is the excess items, because one thing we do with needs assessment data is also look at groups that have excess items that can match needs of other groups, specifically if they are in the same area. So what we do in this instances is to try to organize an aid swap where the organization that has an excess of those items can just transfer them to the one that is in need of those. What do we do with this information we collect from the groups? Well, several things. One thing I just mentioned is the aid swaps. So of course we will try to put in contact the organization that say that they have an excess of a certain item, with the organization that say they have a need for a certain item, and this way we can free some space in their warehouses, we can save them some money if the organization that needed those items were intending to buy those items, or even for the organization that will donate these items, we free up space in their warehouses, or we prevent that these items go to waste. So it's a really important thing we do with the needs assessment, but there is much more. For a starter, we do publish the results in an anonymous way, of course, on our website. This means donor and in-kind donation association can look at the numbers that we collect, so where items are needed, they can filter them for regions, and what is needed, categories of items that are needed. And this is very important because it shows to them that where are the needs and what they need to collect before they collect it. So they can also organize the donations and avoid sending something that is not needed in that area. We have quite a lot of success in that, although much more could be done. The form and the results we publish have been viewed by more than 1,000 donor organizations. When a donor organization contacts us or we find them ourselves, how it works is that we will try to match the offer they have with another organization. This is what we call aid matching. And this is the core thing we do probably with the needs assessment, so to indicate to donors where to send. A lot of times donors will have already a place in mind. For example, lately a lot of people want to send to Ukraine, but seeing that we have the data, so we also can point out to the organization that don't know where to send a particular type of item to a destination and organization that will need that item. One thing that is very important to know, and it's something that DA cares to specify, is that unfortunately we will be extremely happy if the needs assessment could be viewed as a shopping list, but we try to do our best to send and collect as much aid as we can. For example, in the previous quarter, Q1 of 2023, we were able to send over 300,000 items, while the items requested were more than 1 million. We know it's just a small piece of the puzzle to fulfill all the needs, but we are trying to improve, and I encourage you to fill the needs assessment, because if we don't know what is needed, we will never be able to send something, while of course sometimes that doesn't happen, but we try to do our best. Another thing we do that we just recently started doing is also the procurement. For example, we had a project where we bought some cooking oil from a supplier in Ukraine and we distributed it in Greece. This is something we want to do more. So if you have some items that you are currently purchasing, but they are a heavy weight on your expenses, you would like us to maybe try and find some supplier that provides those same items at a lower cost, also taking advantage of the scale of the request. So for example, if we have 10 organizations that puts make an order for a full truck, it's different that's going and buying, in this case, for example, oil in a supermarket. So it's something we want to do more, so please indicate in the form which items do you need and you would like us to procure or find a donor for.